I'm going to record some videos of an example of the process of walking through a estimate with a homeowner. I'm going to start with windows, and I pulled up a floor plan of a house just so you can see what it's like. Picture me meeting with a homeowner at their home here and walking through to measure their windows and write them up a scope of work and a quote. So we're in the house, we're meeting, we're talking, we're discussing options, and we decide now it's time to start walking around and measuring. So maybe we're in the front room here, and they say, well, let's start here. So you can see these openings in the wall. So I'm taking notes here, and they specify they want a certain type of window in this room because this is where they entertain guests. So maybe they want a little bit nicer window. So on my takeoff sheet, I put this spreadsheet together as an example. I don't know, this is not what we currently use, but it's an idea. Clearly you'll take it and make some modifications, but so we're in the front room. We'll call that the living room, LR for living room, and they specify, well, we want the real nice windows here. Those are the Marvin windows, so we want those in this room, and the Ultimate is the Marvin product. The material is wood on the inside. This should say material in or material inside, and this is material outside, because windows can have different materials on the inside and outside. So material outside maybe is vinyl, as an example. So then they specify, well, we want these to be double hung. That's a style of window. I'll show you just as an example what a double hung window is. That's this type of window here. Goes up and down vertically. You don't need to know all this information, but there's a whole lot of different styles of window. It may shock you how many there are. So this is called a casement window. There's also slider windows, which slide side to side. There's bay windows. Oops, bay windows that are protrude from the house, so large, very large window, different style. So there's lots of different style windows. As you can see, we have codes here: C1, casement 1, casement 2, casement 3, etc. So they want double hungs. They want double hungs here in the front room. So they want double panes. I'm just going to zip through some of this. They specify glass package. These are insert style windows. We type in the width and the height, so they're 20 inches wide and 32 inches. Now, in this room, let's assume that there's 4 windows, and they're all exactly the same. So it would be nice, once we have all these specifications done, to be able to very simply copy the line to the line below. So I'm just going to replicate that by doing this. So we have 4 windows in that room. They're all in the room. We've numbered them each individually: window 1, window 2, window 3, window 4. There's no difference in these windows. Maybe there is a difference, and maybe this one is a little bit wider. So we'll say this one's 30 by 40, different size window, but all the specifications are exactly the same. This would then, of course, be calculating a line price. So these are $500 based on what the specifications we chose. The database is pulling from the price book, and maybe this one is actually $600. So I wouldn't manually be putting these in. It would be calculated based on the options here. And there's a lot of options, so clearly this is going to be somewhat of a challenge. So now we move on. Let's say we move on to a different room, and we'll just move on to the kitchen. And they say, you know what, we don't need the windows to be as nice, a little bit less expensive in the kitchen. So I'm going to pretend that this is blank. In the kitchen, we want the lower grade windows. We're going to go with the Simonton windows in the kitchen. And the model is the Generations. And where the salesperson is going over these options with them, it's not as if the the homeowner would know all of this in advance. We would go over this with them at the time. So they're vinyl, a little bit less expensive material, and they're also double hungs. So all the options would be selected, and there are truly this many options on a window. It's a little bit ridiculous, but it's just the way it is. Now these windows are only $350, but that was automatically calculated based on the options we put in. Maybe some of these specifications aren't applicable, so we would just simply have a non-applicable option. Maybe that would be the default for all of these fields, and everything else would be selected. Clearly that's going to calculate down, so maybe the kitchen has 2 windows exactly like this, and so we could very easily click a button and copy down to the next line, and if we had to make a change, then we would do that. We need to be able to specify every one of these windows individually. The cost can vary very dramatically, different brands of windows, different materials. There's really no other way to do it. Clearly this would be calculating grand total price that we would then present to the homeowner. Of course, this would be transferred to the cover page or the scope of work. That's the copy for the homeowner, and then they would be able to review it. So that is an idea of how a window takeoff would be filled out. Hopefully that's helpful for you.